did the How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake just give us one of the most faithful and surprisingly emotional adaptations of an animated classic? Because let's be real, we've seen plenty of reboots try and fail to recapture the magic. But this one, it sticks the landing and manages to set up a whole new future for the franchise. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. From Hiccup's transformation into a true leader to deeper character arcs for Astrid and even Snoutlout, the ending might look familiar, but there's a lot going on beneath the surface that sets it apart from the original. So if you walked out of the theater wondering what those subtle changes meant, how the ending ties into the sequel plans, or why this version hits a little differently, stick around. We're breaking down everything you missed in the final act of How to Train Your Dragon and what it's teasing for what comes next. Let's get into it.
Of the dragons, that's right here, right now!
How the ending mirrors the original. The core narrative arc of How to Train Your Dragon remains virtually unchanged in the remake. Hiccup, misunderstood by the other Vikings, and especially by his father, Stoick the Vast, discovers and secretly befriends a rare Night Fury dragon, naming him Toothless. Through trial and error, Hiccup learns to understand dragons rather than fight them. This connection becomes crucial when the truth about the dragon's servitude under the terrifying Red Death Dragon is revealed. By the climax, Stoick finds out about Hiccup's bond with Toothless, and seeing it as a betrayal, uses the dragon to locate the nest of the Red Death. Hiccup, now determined to stop the violence and save both dragons and humans, teams up with his friends and their own dragons to confront the menace. The final battle is epic, as always. Toothless and Hiccup challenge the Red Death in an aerial confrontation, risking their lives for the sake of peace. In the end, the beast is destroyed, but not without consequences. Hiccup loses part of his leg in the process. The conclusion sees Berk transformed. Dragons are no longer enemies but partners, living alongside the Vikings and integrated into daily life. Hiccup becomes a hero, Toothless becomes a symbol of peace, and Stoick finally accepts his son for who he is. This remains nearly identical to the ending of the original animated film, right down to the tone of hard-won happiness and mutual understanding between two previously warring species. What's new in the remake's ending? While the live-action remake follows the original closely, it adds several narrative and emotional enhancements, especially to characters who didn't get much attention the first time around. One major change is the expanded role of Astrid. In the original, she was a talented warrior and Hiccup's love interest, but her arc was somewhat limited. Here, Astrid is presented as a potential future leader, someone with her own ambitions. She doesn't immediately trust Hiccup or his methods and initially views him as a rival more than a friend. Her skepticism adds more friction to their relationship and makes her eventual support of Hiccup's ideas feel earned. By the time the final battle arrives, Astrid is more than just a companion. She's a field leader, guiding the younger Vikings into battle with purpose. Her respect for Hiccup is forged in the fire of conflict, giving their romance greater weight. It also sets up a foundation for her potential leadership in the sequels, possibly alongside or even in competition with Hiccup. Snoutlout is another character who benefits from the remake's broader emotional scope. In the original, he was mostly a loudmouth bully with a crush on Astrid. In the remake, we learn more about why he acts the way he does. His father, a stern and judgmental Viking, constantly compares Snoutlout unfavorably to others, especially Hiccup. This creates an inferiority complex that explains his bullying tendencies. In the final act, Snoutlout gets his moment of redemption. He fights bravely during the battle with the Red Death and earns a quiet but powerful moment of affirmation from his father. It's not overstated, just a simple pat on the back, but it gives Snoutlout's arc a satisfying emotional payoff. He's no longer just comic relief or a one-note antagonist. He's someone trying to prove himself, just like Hiccup. The live-action version also subtly alters Stoick's character. While still stern and traditional, this version of Stoick shows more emotional vulnerability. His pain over the loss of Hiccup's mother, Valka, is more pronounced, and it's hinted that this grief is the root of his deep-seated hatred of dragons. This adds layers to his eventual change of heart after witnessing Hiccup and Toothless fight side by side. It's not just about accepting his son, it's about healing from a long-standing trauma.
You all need to see this!
I'm not one of them.
Setting up the sequel, the live-action How to Train Your Dragon doesn't just retell a classic story, it also lays down stepping stones for what's to come. Fans of the animated series will immediately notice how frequently Valka, Hiccup's presumed dead mother, is mentioned. Her absence looms large over Stoick and Hiccup, with several scenes making it clear that her loss had a massive impact on their family. In the animated sequel, Valka returns, revealing she survived and has been living among dragons. The remake seems to be leaning heavily into this potential reunion for the sequel, perhaps even building toward it more directly. Moreover, Berk itself is now more cosmopolitan. The remake introduces the idea that Berk was founded by uniting dragon hunters and warriors from various cultures, hinting at a much larger world. This not only adds diversity to the cast, but opens the door to global dragon lore. It's not just about Vikings and dragons anymore, it's about how different cultures interact with these majestic creatures. That means more dragons, more villains, and potentially more allies in the future. This shift also makes room for characters like Drago Bloodfist, the antagonist of the second film. His obsession with conquering dragons could play well into a sequel where the world is expanding and dragon-human relations are still fragile. The groundwork for this tension is already subtly in place. Even Toothless, the beloved Night Fury, is given a few moments that hint at future developments. While still Hiccup's loyal partner, Toothless is portrayed with a sense of mystery and uniqueness. The idea that there could be more Night Furies or other rare dragons out there is not lost on the audience. The remake sets the stage for the discovery of new species, possibly even the Light Fury and the hidden world of dragons explored in the third animated film. A faithful finale with fresh possibilities. In the end, the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake delivers a faithful retelling of the beloved original while adding meaningful depth and richer characterization. Its ending may mirror the animated version, beat for beat in terms of plot, but the emotional weight feels heavier, the character arcs more grounded, and the themes more mature. Astrid's evolution into a capable leader, Snoutlout's journey from comic foil to sympathetic peer, and Stoick's layered motivations all help make this story feel new again. At the same time, the ending doesn't close the door on future adventures. With references to Valka, the multicultural makeup of Berk, and the possibility of greater threats beyond the Red Death, the remake sets up a sequel that could expand the world in exciting ways. It balances closure with curiosity, much like the dragons it celebrates, fierce, free, and full of possibility.
They've killed hundreds of us!
And we've killed thousands of them!
Our nerdy thoughts. So that's the ending of the live-action How to Train Your Dragon, a heartfelt finale that stays true to its roots while planting seeds for even grander adventures. Whether you're a longtime fan of the franchise or just discovering Berk for the first time, this retelling proves that even familiar stories can find new wings to fly. With a sequel already in the works, it's clear that Hiccup, Toothless, and the rest of the gang have more to show us. Until then, let us know what you think about the new version, and whether you think it soars as high as the original. And that's the breakdown of the How to Train Your Dragon live-action ending, faithful where it counts, deeper where it matters, and full of promise for what's next. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What do you want to see in the sequel? More dragons, Valka's return, or maybe something totally new? Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the smallest Viking makes the biggest change.
Here it comes!
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.